How's it going, everybody? Welcome to History 151. First week. Hopefully, everyone's getting settled in here. This is me, Professor Skinner. I'm a human. I exist. I'm teaching this course. Hopefully, you're excited to take it. Welcome here. Hopefully, again, just kind of use this week to get familiar with the Lamaku site. Hopefully, you kind of follow through introductions, the lessons where the lectures are. You can listen to those. There's PowerPoints and PDFs you can download as well. All of the readings, extra readings, interactive videos and various things are all within the lesson page there as well. So hopefully you're getting familiar. If by chance you click on something and the link is not there, just let me know. Sometimes Lamaku things get lost when it gets shifted over between semesters. So yeah, just send me an email. I'll put it up there. For that, so hopefully getting familiar with things. The one that I added today was there's a submodule, student resources submodule. That's where you'll find this midweek check-in. I'm going to do these midweek check-ins every Wednesday. Just kind of give see where we're standing, let you know that I'm here if you have any questions or what have you. In this resources, there's a student resource tab. I have opened that. I filled that in today. I try to fill that in with things from the Eagle Weekly and various anything that comes across my desk that I think is interesting and important. I'll put in there so you can take a look at those. This week, for example, is scholarships. So if you're interested in doing a scholarship, please, everyone should apply for these. They're there for you, so take a look at that. Also some classes, some other things that I found that were interesting that I pulled out. And then the other one that's in this student resources for this week is this Ka'au framework. And I don't know if you've looked at that with other classes, but really kind of the idea of the Ka'au means story, that this class in this semester at Hawaii Community College, it shouldn't just be like, let's just get it done, move on. But, think of it as a chapter in your story and the story of your life that you're going to, hopefully that you're here for a reason. You're trying to get somewhere, do something with this degree. So kind of be thinking about that as we go. I mean, I understand world history is sort of like, I got to get this credit done. I understand that, but there's different ways to approach it, and hopefully you can learn a little bit about history as we go along, and maybe take even some of the stuff you learned this semester with you and the rest of your story as you go along. So the few kind of breakdowns there is the hua, the motivation, the ha'alele, sort of the departing. That's what we're doing now, right? We've got our canoes packed full of provisions and knowledge and experience. And now we're going to go off on the huakai of these 16 weeks. All journeys, right, are kind of sometimes ups and downs. So just be aware of that when semester in the parts of the semester that everything's coming together, you got it handled great. And there's going to be parts of the semester where, maybe the weather is a little challenging but don't worry about that. Make it through. We will all get to the end of these 16 weeks together. And then the hoina, the arrival, and then the haina, the sort of reflection. So we'll kind of be looking at that. And one thing I'd like you to do if you have some time is just maybe spend a minute or two just to kind of write down your hua, just to remind yourself why did you sign up for classes here? What do you want to get out of maybe this semester or Hawaii Community College in general? Just trying to make it a little more holistic. That it's just not just like checking things off a box. This is part of hopefully your life experience in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully a beneficial one at that. So take a look at that, and then the lessons for this. I mean, we cover 13 billion years. In give or take, round up this week. So starting from the Big Bang, sort of the scientific explanation of where things came from, but then also recognizing that that humans have been asking this question for a long time, answering in various different ways. That's where we get a lot of these creation stories and myths. I kind of put a few of those in there for you, and then when early hominids, kind of where the humans came from, Homo sapiens. About 3 million years ago, and then about 300,000 years ago, kind of this beginning of this Paleolithic period, Old Stone Age, where humans are. I mean, if you went back in a time machine about they estimate about 300,000 years ago, we would recognize other people as like humans, right? That we had all the features would be there, and then from there we've been sort of slowly, advancing, working, settling, walking, talking, communicating, doing art. I gave the LaSalle Caves, if you want to look at Parietal art, really interesting there. There's a website you can look at, and the Venus figures, and then the Neolithic transition, right? Sort of as environmental change, humans are affected by that, and transition to settled society with agriculture. Gave some examples of crops we've domesticated, animals and animals we've domesticated as well, and then ultimately leading to civilization, which is where we kind of end this week, just sort of the beginning of civilization, the divisions of labor, and that's the assignment there, that Padlet. Be thinking about that. I kind of want you to be thinking about this early Mesopotamian city. So hypothetically, what would you do in this city? So, and you can use your own experience. What kind of things would you like to do? What would you like to contribute? And again, the idea is that if everybody in class shows what they would do, hopefully we'll have a fully functioning city by the end of it, and I'll look over it and get it back to you next week, and we can look at that a little bit more in depth, and submit that by Friday at 4. Also, I do mention in the syllabus, for assignments, I mean, definitely first read the guidelines, read that stuff. I gave that picture of the sort of misconstrued or not properly put together IKEA chair, right? If the assignment was to build a chair, I'd give you some points because you could sit on that thing, but it's not really a chair. So make sure you read all the assignments and guidelines. And also, if any late work, I try to do everything by Friday at 4, just so you guys don't have to work on the weekend. I try to avoid that. I don't like to work on the weekend, so neither should you. So if you just push through, get it done by Friday at 4, you can be off doing other things. If you're going to be a little bit late, no problem. Just send me an email, and I'll grant you an extension. Pretty much no questions asked. You don't even need to tell me why. Just say, hey, I need a little bit extra time, and you can have till Sunday, to turn it in. So that's kind of my standing policy of late work. If you don't turn it in, you haven't emailed me, you need to talk to me the week after, and you have a school week to turn it in. And after that, it goes into the ether of the semester in Lamaku. So that's that. The other big thing today is just your introductions. Again, you can just record that. I gave the instructions there as well. Mainly just sort of two things. One, it's world history. Sometimes we get distracted by all the world around us, and we forget that history is like right here, in your room, outside in your front yard, right down the street. So what is something that you kind of connect historically that's around you, and explain that a little bit. And then, also name to a face. I mean, it is an online class. We're going to do discussions. We're going to kind of, make it a little more personal than if we're just sort of, in the internets here. So I think that's it for this week. If you have any questions, always please email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, hopefully within 24 hours. Unless it's the weekend, then I'll get back to you on Monday. So great. Have a good first week of spring semester.